Hi, good morning. How are you today? I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Welcome to my channel. To all my new subscribers, thank you so much. To any new subscribers, welcome. Today we're talking about addiction, all forms of addiction, what it means, what the lockdown has done to us, what it's done to our mental health, the effect that COVID has had on our mental health, and specifically what you can do about addiction, whether you're struggling with addiction or one of your family members is struggling with addiction or you live with someone who's going through that kind of problems. Now, addiction is the same no matter what the substance or behaviour is. Whether you can be addicted to gambling, you can be addicted to shopping, you can be addicted to sex, you can be addicted to drugs, you can be addicted to all kinds of substances and behaviours. And today we're just going to discuss what that means for you and how you can go about repairing your life, getting your life back together again and getting it on a straight track. I've been there myself. I was a heroin addict for 25 years and I've been clean and in recovery for a year. I thank God every day for my sobriety, and now I'm on that path. I can help you get on that path as well. While we're doing this, I'm going to do my makeup, so you're going to get ready with me, and we're just going to talk about the effects of the COVID, the lockdown, the effects it's had on our mental health, and the effect it's had on our addictive behaviour. Okay, so let's start. I'm just going to start with the base, and always when you're doing your makeup, just get your hair off your face like that, and then we can start. For the base, I'm using MAC N25. It's a nice colour for my skin type. So addictive behaviours, as we know, always come from trauma. Anybody who's struggling with addiction is struggling with addiction because of trauma. And in Britain, in the UK today, it's going to be very, very difficult because of the new laws that are being passed. The police crime sentencing bill has just been passed. It was passed earlier this year, and it gives the police a lot of powers. It gives police power if you're involved in protesting or you're homeless. The police can treat you, there's a clause in it that's for gypsies and travellers. Basically that means homeless people, people that don't have anywhere to live, and it gives the police power to let me see. Now, it increases sentencing for protesting, and they can prosecute gypsies and travellers. You don't have to be a gypsy or a traveller to be prosecuted. You just have to have nowhere to live, and that's what they're going to do. Now, addiction, as we know, is the leading cause of homelessness. Homeless people are usually homeless because they're addicts. I spent a year living on the street. I was living on the streets for a year, so I know all about this. But when I was living on the streets, they didn't have these laws. So I'm very concerned and worried about the effect that these laws are going to have. When you've got mentally ill people, skinny, vulnerable, addicted people living on the streets, that's punishment enough. You don't have to find them. I mean, the police now have got the power to stop and search. They can give you 3 months in prison if you've got nowhere to live, and they can fine you £2,500. How they're going to get this money from homeless people is beyond me, but they can do that. And that is one thing I'm very, very concerned about because of the scarcity of housing. Although that there is a lot of housing being built, I'm concerned that there's not enough social housing being built, and that's what we need. We need affordable, low-cost housing, and we need proper treatment. At the moment in the UK, if you're suffering from an opiate addiction, bit of herbal tea. I love my herbal tea. In recovery, I've gone so straight. Herbal tea, fruits, vegetables. I mean, my diet is so good now. But that's because I'm trying to repair 25 years worth of damage on my body, which is going to take a little bit more than some chamomile tea. But I'm getting there. Now, the base. With the lockdown and this whole COVID thing has had a catastrophic effect on our mental health. We know this. We know that people are really, really struggling at the moment because it's such an anxiety-inducing time. Nobody knows what's going on. Apparently we're all back to normal now, but we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. In my experience, the government aren't really there to help you out, you know, but we'll see. Hopefully they will be. We are facing some very hard questions as a society. We're facing some the lockdown, I think, opened up a space in society where we could really see the inequity and the injustice of things that are wrong with our world at the moment. We're going to put a little bit of contouring on the face and basically what you need to understand is that the lockdown, as we know, has had a very serious effect on our collective mental health. So what can we do about this? Well, for me personally, how I control my mental health is through exercise and through meditation. Now, we hear this a lot. What does it mean? What can you practically do? Well, to start meditating, what you need to do is just try and quiet your mind. Try and calm all those conscious thoughts that are in your mind. There are some excellent guided meditations on YouTube. One that I would personally recommend, there's a man called Wolfgang Arndt, and his channel is called Tools for Ascension on YouTube, and I do a guided meditation of his, and I meditate every day for an hour, and I also do some yoga stretches. I'm still on the beginner's yoga because I've never taken any form of exercise before in my life. This last year, like all addicts in recovery are essentially learning how to become ordinary people. We're learning how to become part of society again, and that is a very, very difficult thing to do. So if you know anybody in recovery, or you know anybody that's suffering from addiction, one thing I can tell you is they can't help their behaviour. You know, addiction is an illness, and it's an illness that's caused by trauma. It's caused by trauma and it's caused by pain. The Adverse Childhood Experience study done in California found that adverse childhood experiences before the age of 7, experiences such as the death of a parent, physical or sexual abuse, any kind of divorce, incarceration of the parent, anything like that, by the time a male child has had 6 of those adverse experiences, his risk of becoming an injection-using substance-dependent addict goes up by 4,600%. So by the time a child has had 6 of those adverse experiences, they're pretty much guaranteed to be an addict. From my own experience, I can tell you that's absolutely the case. So a lot of addicts end up in, if they make it out, they end up in the position that I'm in at the moment. I mean, I'm 40 years old and I'm having to start my life from scratch. I have to learn how to be an ordinary human being. Like even things like putting on makeup and stuff like that. I know absolutely nothing, and I've got to do all this on my own at the age of 40, and that is not an easy thing to do. I can tell you that now. So if you know anybody that's in recovery, please be kind to them, because their life is very, very difficult. Now, the other thing that concerns me is the lack of funding for public services. Public services such as methadone distribution, such as counselling, such as social housing. There is such a paucity of that it's it's actually dangerous for society not to do this, because desperate people do desperate things. Of course, we need harsher measures to deal with people that don't want to be part of society, people that just want to hurt people. But the people that are addicts, the actual vulnerable people, should not be treated as criminals, because they're not. They just get caught up in all this. Like drug dealers. Drug dealers are notorious for using people who are vulnerable. They will use children, they will use mentally ill people, they will use physically disabled people, they will use anybody to either take over their accommodation or take over their life, get them to, sell their drugs to them, or do this or do that. And these poor addicts get battened on and battened on. And so the last thing they need is to be treated as if they themselves are the criminals, because they're not. They are the victims. Now, for my eye makeup, I'm going to go in with this NYX palette. And we've got some lovely sparkly colours in here. And I'm going to go in with the smoky eye, I think. Yeah, I'll do a nice smoky eye makeup. So how can you control your addiction? Well, the first thing you need to do, even though there is such a lack of public services, whether you're in America or in the UK or in Europe, everywhere's different. But the first thing that I would advise you to do is to seek professional help, whatever your addiction happens to be. Whether you're addicted to gambling, whether you're addicted to shopping, whether you're addicted to drugs. I mean, in some ways, if you're an opiate addict, it's easier, because opiate addicts can get a prescription. And that's the first thing you need to do. You need to get a prescription for Subutex or methadone or something like that to control your withdrawal symptoms. If you have an addiction like an addictive behaviour, such as gambling, then certainly you need to seek professional help as soon as possible. The thing that you can do yourself to control this is meditate. You must control your mind. Everything comes from in here. Everything comes from in here. Your reality is created by you, and unfortunately this is what happens with addiction. It's a vicious circle. The worse it gets, the worse it gets. The worse it gets, the more you use, the more you use, the worse it gets. And it carries on and on and on, and you're just on that wheel, and it's very, very hard to get off that hamster wheel once you're on it. Now I'm just going to go into the corners here and start to build up. There's a lovely sparkly, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, there's a beautiful sparkly black on there. It's really, really nice. And then, of course, the other thing you need to do is to have some kind of occupation to keep yourself busy. You need to have something positive to focus on to keep yourself busy. The other thing that I would recommend is every morning when you wake up, you have to, addiction has a serious effect on your neurobiology. On your brain biology, it has a really bad effect, so that after a while you begin to feel like you deserve to live in these conditions, and you deserve to have people treating you the way they do, you know, because you've brought it on yourself. So one thing that you need to do is train your mind to think differently, and having some kind of positive occupation will go a long way to making you feel better. Now, I just go in there. So, what you need to do every morning is write a list of 10 things, or 5 things, it doesn't have to be 10, that you're grateful for. It could be having somewhere to live, having your family around you, having people that care about you. So just have a list of things that you are grateful for. Write a list of things that you're grateful for, and then there's a saying, when you're lost, go back home. Just go back home. Go back to the things that you loved when you were a kid. Go back to the first things that you loved. What did you love? What did you love doing? What were your favourite things? Go back to the things that you used to care about and pick them up again. Like, you might have been really into music, or you might have loved books, or you might have loved any kind of thing that you loved. Try and get back to doing those things. It really, really works. So every day, write a list of things that you're grateful for. Keep yourself positively occupied. Seek professional help, and look after yourself. Look after yourself. Eat well and drink lots of water. You don't forget, your body has to repair itself. You know, all the damage that you've done to yourself, that all has to be repaired. I'm going in with the light colours on the corner. Now, when you do dark colours on a smoky eye, and then you go in with the light colours, do not use the same brush. Have 2 separate brushes so you don't smudge the colours on your palette. That's a little tip. So we're going to go in here with this lovely creamy white, beautiful colour, and then we're going to go in a beautiful little colour there. Just poke it in there like that. Beautiful. That's beautiful. And the other thing that I would certainly recommend is doing 12-step meetings. You can either do the meetings online, or you can go yourself. I personally prefer the face-to-face meetings, because having people around you, you know, listening to their stories, that really, really helps, and that helps you to understand that it isn't just you. Other people are going through this as well. It's so easy to believe that you're the only one who's fucked up. You're the only person who's got mental health issues. You're the only person who suffers from anxiety. And that isn't the case. There are millions and millions of people struggling, especially now with COVID. You know, COVID has had such a catastrophic effect on our society and everybody around us that it actually really does help to listen to other people's problems, because then you realise that it's not just you. I've got to go in the corner. I'm just going to use my nails to do this. It takes a couple of seconds for the eyelash glue to dry. Having long nails helps, but if you haven't got long nails, you need a pair of nice flat-ended tweezers to put your lashes on. when I'm not wearing lashes, there's a couple of mascaras that I really, really like, and my favourite one is the Bourjois Black and White. I don't know if you've seen it. It's got the white mascara and then the black mascara on the end. It makes your lashes really, really long. But today I'm just going to put these on because it's a nice quick way of getting a good dramatic look. Let me put these on. I'll be straight back in a minute. Another thing that's good to do when you're doing your list of things that you're grateful for, either 10 or 5 things that you're grateful for, also write 10 or 5 things that you like about yourself. Now, I know it's not always easy to find good things that you like about yourself. We're all used to criticising ourselves. But if you think of 5 things that you like about yourself, it could be your way with words, it could be the fact that you're always there for your friends, it could be you know, anything positive about yourself. You know, it could be I like my hair, you know, I like anything that you like about yourself, or you know, people say I'm this or people say I'm that. It's hard to think about things that you actually like about yourself. Sorry, this eyelash is really there's always one corner that won't stick down. Right, that'll do for now. So think of things, 5 or 10 things that you like about yourself, 5 or 10 things that you are grateful for. Excuse me. 5 or 10 things that you're grateful for, 5 or 10 things that you like about yourself, and write that every morning. Also write down some affirmations. Now, affirmations are scientific prayer. It's a harmonious interaction of the conscious and subconscious mind. So you're saying things out loud, and because you're saying it out loud, you're actually creating that reality, because your brain, it does what you tell it to, basically. So your brain will create the reality that you're putting into it. So if you're always saying, oh, things always go wrong for me, things will always go wrong for you. You know, what you say to yourself is very, very powerful. Your self-talk is very powerful. So you need to change that self-talk. I'm not wearing these lashes ever again. Fuck this. I mean, look at that. Right, so your self-talk is very, very powerful. I'm going to take these off and just put mascara on because they're really annoying me now. Your self-talk is very, very powerful. What you say to yourself is extremely powerful. So you have to change the way that you see yourself. And you can write your own affirmations. Like you can write down, my life is changing for the better. I am powerful. Everything happens, everything falls into place perfectly. Every time I want something, it falls into place perfectly. I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm grateful. And write down all these affirmations and say them out loud every day. And go through all your affirmations and say them 3 times. So you say every affirmation 3 times. And you can also say out loud the things that you're grateful for. And changing your self-talk in this way will really change your reality. The other thing that you can do that's extremely helpful for mental health and extremely helpful for addiction is creative action. Creative action. And that could be anything. It could be makeup, it could be painting, it could be sculpture, it could be mosaics, it could be crafting, knitting, embroidery, anything, any type of creative action that's soothing. A lot of people now have got those adult colouring books. You know, if you can't, I mean, I can't draw a stick man. I mean, I'm not a brilliant artist. So if you're like me and you can't really draw, then colouring books are a good idea. Anything that's creative and that's soothing will really, really help your mental health. So that, you know, I'm just giving you some news you can use, you know what I mean? Like these are real tried and tested ways that you can bring yourself out of addiction. If you're recovering from a drug addiction, then 6 weeks is what it really takes to begin to feel normal again. But your body will not detox properly for at least a year. So you have to keep this healthy diet, exercise. I mean, at first you're not going to want to go to the gym and stuff like that because you're not going to feel well. But you could do gentle exercises. You can do like beginners yoga, stuff like that, and it really, really helps. What? Here we go. That's what I was looking for. My lip liner. Now that really, really helps. So you've got creative action, affirmations, things that you're grateful for, gentle exercise, healthy eating, diet, vitamins. Take your vitamins. Take all, take a multivitamin and then take whatever vitamins you want to take on top. Make sure you take about 2 or 3 vitamins every day, and that really, really helps. Also, taking care of your appearance. When you get clean, or when you stop a certain behaviour, you become more aware of your appearance. I've met gambling addicts who are so addicted to gambling they look like drug addicts because all their focus is on their gambling, and they spend all their money on their gambling and they don't care what they look like. They just need to get to the bookies, or they just need to get to the fruit machine or the arcade or wherever they're playing. But when they stop doing that, or when you stop doing drugs or whatever it is you're doing, you become more aware of your appearance. Taking care of your appearance can help you to feel better. Okay, that's one thing that you can do that will really, really help you. So, and the other thing I want to tell you is this. Recovery is possible for everybody. Recovery is not impossible. As I said, I was a heroin addict for 25 years. I lived on the streets for a year, and I have recovered. I'm in recovery now. So I can tell you that recovery is absolutely possible for everybody. It's possible to recover. You need to just change the way you think, change the way you see yourself, and be kind to yourself. Do it a bit at a time. Do it a bit every day, every day, every day. And every day you will get better. And every day you're getting better. So be grateful, be kind, and treat yourself well. Be grateful, be kind, treat yourself well, write down things that you're grateful for, do your meditation, do your exercises, eat well, and do something creative that's soothing that will help you. Always seek professional help for any kind of addiction. Always be kind to yourself, and be gentle. Be very, very gentle with yourself. Take it easy, take it slow. Do your 12-step meetings, talk to people, and eventually you will see a huge recovery. And when you look back and see where you were and see where you are, you will see a huge difference. Okay, this is Filthy Catch Up. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. God bless. Bye bye.